So, welcome back to another podcast, another IPT2. And this week we're going to be going over Dubai Active. So, it's been a couple of weeks since we've done a podcast, and really that's just been down to the fact we've had to get ready for Dubai Active. We've had to get ready for a couple of programs that we launched, and we've had to get ready for other things that are going on in the background. Now, we do apologise, I'm sure you've missed this, but when it comes to Dubai Active, it has been a phenomenal event, and we just want to share that a little bit with you. So, the very first thing that personally I want to say is that when you go to events like this, and in Scotland, we haven't had the SFN for a while. I'm sure a lot of people would have went to Body Power or maybe even Expo down in Liverpool, and that's great. But we've had nothing really in Scotland, so that's a little bit disappointing. And obviously, there is other ones that go on in the UK, but they are a little bit smaller. With Dubai Active being one of the largest in the world, what it really did showcase was the community that everybody is part of. And I think sometimes, as an individual personal trainer, as an individual in the fitness industry, we tend to forget the actual community we have around us. And I guess part and parcel of that, especially as a personal trainer, we tend to go into things thinking we're alone, and it's just not the case. There is so many people out there that want to help and support, so many people out there that want to get involved and help you with your business. And I'm sure a lot of personal trainers out there want to help other people. We see it all the time with trainers getting involved in community events, trainers getting involved in charities, and just generally doing a lot for the places where they live. And a lot of the time it goes beyond that as well. Maybe working with national charities or doing events and putting on bigger things for the communities that they have already. And going to Dubai Active, it was something that personally I had forgotten about. Just forgotten how big the community out there really is. And that was one of the big takeaways from going to Dubai Active. It was not the travel or being away or doing what we did out in Dubai. It was literally the travel. And I'm going to break down the travel because it's a nice kind of tale that we have to tell from those stories. But I just want everybody to who's going to listen to this now and in the future to really think about the community that you are part of. Some of you may feel that you are taking on this personal training journey alone, but you're really not. First of all, you have your tutor support. We at IPT, we are trying to create our own community of trainers so that we can all interact and help each other. And then above that, you have the fitness communities out there, the people who you train. You have the larger community you're within. You have the larger fitness community that you're within. You have the enthusiasts. You have so many different layers of community out there. And reach out and ask for support and help. The worst thing that can happen is they say no. You know, if you try reach out to a group that you want to train and they say no, that's not the end of the world. But you do have support out there for maybe your business. Maybe you need help. So ask for it. I don't know, sometimes we can be a bit proud and we don't want to ask for help and support, but we have to if we want to succeed. And part and parcel of that is just remembering that you're not alone. Now, before we go any further, I'm sure you can hear there's a little change in my voice, and that's partly due to the travel. I have been struck down with a cold, and it's not very nice. So it's made me a bit stuffy. So let's get on to Dubai Active. So first of all, why did we go to Dubai Active? Well, our partners, our accrediting body, Active IQ, asked us many moons ago to come to Dubai Active to help support the international program. Now, if you haven't heard of the international program, it's probably because it's not for the UK. It's not for the UK market. UK market still works on the level 3 diploma, and it is mapped out and accredited in the way that it should be for the UK. It has specific things in it that works in the UK market, such as the health and safety aspects and some other aspects that make it for the UK. And that means that you can then be certified by CIMSPA, by myself, by Active IQ. It's regulated by Ofqual, and you can be part of reps, you can be part of EREPs, you can be part of IC reps. Your diploma can be taken internationally. But for people out there who are in countries around Europe where the standard of education and fitness isn't as high as it is in the UK, then we have well, not us specifically, but Active IQ have developed the international program that changes things to make it more accessible for people to learn. And we then, as a centre, add our own videos to that, add our own input to help with the education process. Just as we do with the 12-week programme, we will have lectures and videos to help support the journey of somebody in the international programme. Some of the legislation around the UK and what it has in its laws has been removed because that's not applicable to European countries. And in turn, they have more of the aspects of fitness that they should be focused on. Now, the course itself is mapped out to IC Rep standards. That's the international reps body, and to the EREPS standards, which is the European body. So it is a certified personal training course, but with it being a different level outside of the UK, we will call it the level 3 fitness instructor course and the level 4 personal trainer course. And that's what makes up the international course. There is a fitness assistant element, which is level 2. And it's like the level 2 that you normally do, except it's a step down from the UK version. So it's more of an entry level for people who want to get into the fitness side of work. Again, we want to help raise the bar around the world. That's one of our core values. That's one of the core things we set out to do as a centre. And to be able to support this course really resonates with us, and it goes back to not just myself, but to the other people who have worked in the Middle East. to the other people who have worked around the world who work within our centre. When you go and work in another country and your colleagues are from other countries as well, you start to find out information that you didn't really know about, not in the first place. You think that your qualification that you do in the UK is the same worldwide round, and it isn't. There are some qualifications out there that are better. But for the most part, the qualifications out there are not regulated. They're not properly certified. They are done by people on the fly. And that means when people from certain countries get to their final destination, and let's just say Dubai, they have a qualification that no longer means anything because the paper it was written on is worthless. It's not regulated, it's not certified, it's not mapped to any kind of standard. And although that person might have a decent amount of fitness education, they're not at the standard they need to be to legally provide services in that country. Remember, we don't do personal training qualifications because that's what you need to do to be a personal trainer. We do personal training qualifications to get you to the minimum standard that you need to be a personal trainer. After your course is when you really go on and then flourish. That's the state of play. So we have all these people from all these countries coming to Dubai, and now their qualification is worthless. So they then have to pay more money to do another qualification. And that's unfair. That's really unfair. So what we do is we provide the course internationally, and on that course they have to do it in English or Arabic at the moment, and we provide that course obviously online so they can complete the course in their own time and submit videos to us, and we will give them feedback, and that feedback they can then use to be a better personal trainer. And we had lots of conversations around the in-person aspects and the video aspects of being a training provider out in Dubai, but that's a conversation for another podcast. So when we got asked to go to Dubai to promote the international program, we jumped at the chance. And there was 16 or so centres, I think, asked, and 8 replied, and 6 actually did what they were going to do in the end, which was provide a talk. And they asked all of us if we would provide educational talks or talks on different subject matters, because they needed experts and they needed people who were working within the industry in the education field to really produce high quality level stuff for stage worthiness. And again, the call, we answered, no problem. We were prepared to go on stage and talk about anything at all, to be perfectly honest. And that's something that we were prepared to do, and other centres committed to do. And in the end, a few pulled out. And with this being close to our mission, our hearts, we decided to go ahead and go and support Active IQ fully in person. And there were other centres there, but we were there all 3 days helping support Active IQ, helping support the people who certify your certifications who help provide the course and framework that allow you to then be personal trainers in the UK or abroad. So to be part of that and be part of a larger community again, we wanted to support people. It wasn't about us. And I think very much when people hear you went to Dubai Active, that must have been amazing because you got to see Dubai and you got to be there. We didn't get a second to go and enjoy the sun. We didn't get a second to do much else but be in the event. And there was a lot of travel involved. So that's why we went to Dubai. There was no real self motivations. There wasn't anything underlying, and a lot of people will see that we were able to go and promote ourselves, but we didn't have a stand. We were able to talk to people and make connections, and that's more important. And I think as a personal trainer as well, that's a very important thing to go and do. Make the connections. Now, you can do that locally. You don't need to go to Dubai to do that. And again, I think some of the takeaways from today's podcast we'll have to do on another podcast just to make sure that the points we cover are fully taken on board and utilised by you guys. So, first leg of our trip was Glasgow to Budapest. And Budapest is a Hungarian country. The country of Hungary. So we were travelling to Hungary, and we did these stopovers to cut the price of the flights. At the end of the day, this is a business trip. It wasn't for anything else but to help Active IQ and to help IPT. So we went to Budapest, and straight away when we got to the airport and started going into the city centre, we started to see different gyms. Now, there was no commercial gyms that we could see, but we saw signs for bodybuilding, for boxing, some of the typical sports that used to be done back in the day. And again, Eastern European countries are very much big on bodybuilding, and we saw that on the return trip as well. They're very much big on the boxing aspects, and we really mean old school boxing here. So that's where we look at the kind of fitness stuff, and we see that. But when you're in any country and you start to see what they have available to them, you see it on the main streets most of the time anyway, because that's where fitness centres are a lot of the time these days. They are close by, and we could see fitness centres that were shut down. But we also saw a population that wasn't really overweight, that was in shape and had healthy foods, and the portion sizes were smaller. Your large cup of coffee was not the size; it was half the size of a Costa. And yes, you're getting less. You're paying less money, obviously, in Budapest, but also the size of cakes and just the pastries and things that you can purchase and eat. It was all smaller. And that's telling. It's not that they've got a scarcity, it's that they actually portion out their food a lot better. And that nutritionally is going to be very helpful to to obviously being in better shape. So we don't see McDonald's in every single street corner. We don't see any fast food chains all over the place. It's all local shops, all local pastries, all local restaurants. Very little in the way, and obviously there was your McDonald's and stuff like that, but very little in the way of that was actually there for us to see. So again, that's a triumph. We look around our own neighbourhoods and you can't go very far without finding a fast food joint. And a lot of these are unhealthy, big portion sizes because that's what we demand as consumers in the UK. So again, it's very eye opening. It's very much seeing that there was people running on the streets. You know, the that kind of country, Budapest, they might be seen, oh, Hungary, they might be seen as not the best when it comes to fitness education, but the Eastern Bloc countries are still maybe decades behind some of us in the Western countries when it comes to fitness education. So definitely that's a country that could benefit from the international course. But you also have to remember that a lot of people who get into fitness from these countries, they actually go to university to do their fitness courses. So they come out of university with a degree in, say, sports science. And their sports science courses usually teach them an element of personal training in them as well and coaching. But then they go to places like Dubai and their certification means nothing because they can't really prove that they are who they say they are. They maybe don't have that element of personal training as a certification. It's not mapped a certain way, so they can't say that they have the education. They might have a good education, but because it's not properly in a paper form, that they get told they have to redo their course. So it's a bit of a shame when even you think of the Eastern Bloc countries, but that's something we're looking to help. You know, we want to go into these other countries around Europe and also help them come up to the standard that they need for going to places like Dubai or going anywhere else in the world, Australia, America, anywhere they want to personal train, because a lot of people who do fitness tend to go away from their country, especially when it's the European countries. And we see it in the UK as well, obviously, a lot of trainers going to these other countries to train people. So, we were lucky enough just before we left Budapest to go and visit some of the sites. We were staying near the river Danube, and we were able to go and walk along there in the morning just before going back for our flight. We only had one day there, so we took in the sights, got some pictures which we'll be sharing, and then got on our plane to Dubai. Now, like I said, this was a business trip, so getting to Dubai was great, but it was another big flight, and it was very tiring. So by the time we got to Dubai, it was late at night. There was things that had to get sorted. So we only really had one day in Dubai by ourselves. And to be perfectly honest, that's where the finishing touches were put to our talk. We didn't have enough time to make sure the talk was up to specifics when we were back home, just due to everything else that was going on. So the main talk was all done, the slides for the main talk, sorry. So, and again, I think this will be for another podcast, but just how we actually go about doing talks. How can you do that? That's going to be another podcast, to be honest. But we had the slides ready. We just had some pictures and a few tweaks to do to make sure everything flowed the way we wanted it to flow. And then that was us really. And the next day we had to make sure that we were there early morning. So we had the Thursday to ourselves. And the Dubai weekend works a little bit differently. It's only Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is really back to work for most people. So we knew the event was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We spent Thursday night just getting a little bit of food and got to bed. On the Friday, we turned up at this event not knowing what the event's going to be like. And we were just blown away. I've been to the biggest events in the UK, and this far surpassed any of those events. Easily, we get lost walking around for a good hour in the event. There was amazing talks that, again, through time, we will be able to give you the points that were made by some of the biggest names in the industry. We'll be able to tell you a lot more about Dubai Active itself. But for the most part, just like any expo, there was a lot of people trying to sell you stuff. So, or not necessarily sell you stuff, but to showcase their products. So there was a lot of massive names out there. There was a lot of companies I'd never heard of. And there was maybe, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 stages for different things that were going on all at the same time. So on the very first day, I was asked to take photos and videos of the fitness summit, all to do with what was going on in the industry, all to do with the progression of the industry and where it may be headed. And again, we'll talk about that in the future. And the tidbits, the takeaways we got from these leaders within the actual industry, the people they had on stage were wonderful. They made amazing points. And I think some of them we will have to get across to students and PTs and later podcasts and later social media, because and it may even be a case where we add some of it into our actual physical teaching, because it was phenomenal, some of the points they were making. And you don't get that unless you have a group of people together sitting discussing a topic. And again, that's another big thing. So this was the first stage that I saw out there, and it was amazing to listen to that entire talk. It was great. I absorbed so much information from it. And then we went over, saw the other stages. I knew I was going to be on the exercise professional stage later on. And by later on, I mean on the Sunday. And once we got a lot of the kind of meet and greet stuff out of the way, we then were able to go on to having a look around, really. And then it was really the end of the day where we got to have that look around properly. And I got to have a couple of meet and greets. And again, a lot of the meet and greets were free for everybody coming to the event. And you had the biggest names in the world: Phil Heath, Ronnie Coleman, Seabum, James Smith, Chris X, and those big Rami was there. There was just so many names: Flex Wheeler, Larry Wheels. There was so many people there that you honestly just, it would be hard to name them all. And again, I got to go and say hi to some of these people. Some of the queues were just stupid long, so I wasn't able to actually get into some of the people and see them, but there was also we had maybe about four or five of these massive arena type uh, units, and one of the units was actually across the road, which, well, the little kind of promenade that they had, and that was the kind of bodybuilding zone, and they had the massive stage there for bodybuilding as well. And again, I went round all the stands and saw what was available. And in that other unit, they had a Lamborghini, and there was all this hype and buzz, and it just felt great to be part of that electricity that everybody was bringing. And I guess, again, it just reminds you of the bigger community that you are actually within. It's not about the meeting of celebrities. It's not about getting freebies. It was literally that passion that everybody had for fitness. And there was a lot of people who were a lot of different shapes and sizes, but they all had passion for fitness and health and well-being. And that's amazing. We had, I think they said there was going to be about 35,000 people at the event. And I would agree there was easily that, maybe even more. You know, there was just constant streams of people. And on the Friday, obviously day one of the event, that was busy, but it wasn't as busy as day two. And really, after day one, I was exhausted. I was back home and sleep straight back in the morning again. And day two was, again, more of the same, except this time they had, in Dubai, a Saturday is really seen as a proper day off. So we had more people coming to us from the get-go, and I was fortunate enough to have, obviously, the Active IQ stand as my base of operations. I was able to go out and speak to many of the businesses and see where people need help and support. I was able to go around the whole event again and really take in the differences, because there was different talks, there was lots of things to take in, lots of things that were said that really made sense, and seeing different points of views. And again, it's just remembering part of that amazing community that you are, and listening to, I think it was Ronnie Coleman and Phil Heath talk on stage. Again, they were answering questions for about 2 hours, and what an amazing talk they had. They talked about becoming Mr. Olympia and how they got into bodybuilding. And remember, bodybuilding was one aspect of the show. There was also the CrossFit, there was boxing, there was MMA gyms there. There was so many different aspects of fitness on showcase. And not only that, there was prehabilitation, there was rehabilitation, there was products that you know and products you don't know. There was freebies and giveaways, there was competitions, there was so many things going on, and it was just electric again. And what a show that was really put on. And again, I'm not going to be able to speak about absolutely everything in this one podcast, because we're already at 34 minutes and I'm barely scratching the surface of what this event was like. And again, you'll see the pictures, and you'll see the kind of aspects of what was done at the event and how amazing it was to be part of it. And I would really advocate for people listening to this to get along to their next expo in the UK and whatever country you're at, you know, if you can. Because these events just remind you of why you are in the industry, why you do what you do. And even if you're just an enthusiast, that's amazing. Go along to these events, keep seeing your idols, keep the kind of principles you have at the forefront of everything that you do. Keep health and well-being at the forefront of everything you do, because it just makes you better, healthier, stronger, more resilient. And again, we get this from having that passion for the same kind of thing with the same like-minded people. It's always helpful to be around them, especially when we can feel quite alone in this industry sometimes. So again, day 2 was even more exhausting than day 1. We all felt it. It's long days because we were there from, say, 8, 9 in the morning to 6 at night, and you're on your feet all day. You forget about getting lunch. Really, we were getting coffees whenever we could. And, well, personally, I was just getting a coffee when I could. And then day 3 occurred, and day 3 was strange because I knew I had my talk, the talk that I was doing for IPT, and the talk was all on social media. And again, this is going to be a course that's going to be recognised by Active IQ as again a certified course. That'll come in the future. Again, we will have to flesh out the course a little bit, and this was the beginnings of it. This was us talking only for 1 hour. This course is going to be a lot longer than 1 hour. And it was all about social media mastery. Now, obviously, we're back home now from the trip, and the trip itself was amazing. But we got feedback, which I wasn't expecting, and we got that yesterday. We got reached out to by the people who ran the event, and they told us how tremendously our talk went. Now, I'm not one of those people to judge myself, because when you do a talk, or when you get up on stage, or when you do anything that is going to be criticised by other people, I let other people do the criticising. And that is because I need to be focused on what I'm doing. I can't be focused on thinking about different aspects of things. And again, this will be a different podcast when I talk about how you become a speaker, how you do things, and how you can do it for yourself. But I think you need to let other people give you criticism, and it's good or bad. And I asked for that from the people who attended, and I asked for it, and I got some amazing answers and some amazing feedback on the day. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about the talk itself another time, but it went down well. And although it was an hour's talk, I ran a little bit over, so I did apologise to the next speaker. It's a hard subject to speak about in just 1 hour, and to give people a really big insight into how to promote themselves and do lead generation. And that again was the whole point of the talk. It's social media mastery for lead generation. And to be able to come away from that talk and have people come and speak to me and ask me questions and want to know more, and have leaders from other of the stands that were there come and listen to what I had to say, because they were curious, they wanted to know. And to also be able to be on stage and see how I was capturing the audience, not just the audience that was seated, but people who were walking by were stopping and listening because they resonated with what was being said. So that was amazing. And we were the first talk of the day. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't think it was going to be popular. 11 a.m. on the last day of the event with only 2 people sitting down at 11 o'clock, I was panicking. But we had 30 to 40 people by the end, which was roughly about the capacity of the stage. But we also had lots of people around the stage and people listening in. So that probably increased that as well, which was just amazing. And we've been asked if we can provide the slides because people are asking for them. So that's just amazing feedback. But the thing that also made the last day a bit weird for us was being able to catch up with old colleagues and old friends, and we did that throughout the 3 days. There was many people we were introduced to, but there was also so many people that we knew that we got to say hi to. And I think when it's been almost a decade since I personally lived in Dubai, it's a weird thing to see those people because they've all skyrocketed in their careers, and it's weird to think we were once just colleagues who shared a room or shared a gym space or whatever, and now we're leaders, actual leaders in the industry. And it wasn't until I got home that somebody said to me, have you even congratulated yourself yet on what you've done? Because you've done something that not many would have done or have done in this case. And it really resonates when you realise that. But let's finish this podcast by explaining the rest of the travel. So as soon as I was finished my talk, caught up with people, the event was coming to an end. It was back to the airport. We had no time. Literally, my suitcase was in the back, and that was us back off to the airport. And straight away got our flight. The event finished at 5-6 o'clock again. We left about 6 o'clock. Our flight was at 5 to 10. Got to the airport, got a quick bite to eat, and back off we were to, this time, Bucharest. So, Romania. And again, another amazing country. And when you think about the Romanian deadlift being a staple of many a gym program, we have to remember that, again, Romania is an Eastern Bloc country. They are a little bit behind in the times when it comes to fitness education, very much like Hungary. So again, it was nice to be involved in a little bit of a different culture, and I would love to go and spend more time in Bucharest. To be honest, we didn't get as much time in Bucharest as we did in Budapest, and there wasn't as much to take in for us, to be honest. So not too much the story wise when it comes to Bucharest. And then back to Glasgow, and it was nice to get home and have the familiar sights of the city I was born in. But it was also so nice to see these 3 other major cities from around the world and see their cultures again. Again, when it comes to Dubai, but Budapest and Bucharest were completely new to me, so to see that was phenomenal. And to see the fitness cultures they all have, again, phenomenal. And now that we're home, we have so much more to focus on, so much more coming in the future. so much to do, but we will have the programming CPD live very soon. The social media mastery course is now on pre-sale until the 1st of January, and we will be releasing an amendment to our prospectus for 2024, and again we will be looking at running only 4 courses next year, because we want the education we give to be that top notch, that's what we're known for. So please, if we can help you at all, get in contact. I hope to hear more from you guys listening to this, or just people in general, and people who want to be students, people who are in the industry already. We want to keep helping you guys. We want to genuinely listen to what you need as a fitness professional, so we can deliver that, because there is such an exciting time coming. Now, we all feel a cost of living crisis in the UK. We all feel across the world that things are tight. But these smaller educational courses that we are creating to help fitness professionals, that's where we need to look at the industry and really listen to what you guys want and give you that help and support. So please tell us what that help and support is that you need, and tell us what kind of courses you would like to see delivered or even curated for you to be successful. So let us know, and I'm not going to go on any longer with this. Dubai Active was an amazing event. I'm sure you could hear it in what we've been saying, but really go and check out some of the pictures we have. We'll be doing montages and little videos and stuff. Look at the stuff that we're sharing. And go onto the Dubai Active page. Go and check them out and see exactly what it was like. They have some amazing footage, and I'm sure they will be creating much more. We will eventually be putting up a page on the website that tells you all about our event over in the Dubai Active, and again, just really helps us move forward as a fitness industry, as fitness professionals, and for us, helps us move the education forward some more as well. So from IPT2, that's us out this week, and have an amazing time. We will be back sooner than later. We will be back probably early next week with our next podcast. And again, if there's something you would like to hear us talk about, then please let us know, and we would love to cover that subject for you. And if you would like to get involved in the podcast and come on and speak with myself, then please let us know. Drop us a message, and let's make that happen. Till next time, take care, and I will speak to you all soon.